Welcome to another episode of Real Estate, Real Life, Real Talk, Real Live with the real secrets of money with your host, Damon the Agent. I appreciate each and every one of you joining me today. Today is Friday, May 8th, 2026. I will not be here next week, you all. I will actually be in Puerto Rico. My wonderful woman, her birthday is on Thursday, and I'm taking her to Puerto Rico on Friday. So I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me. So if you all have not, please follow me on all social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Threads, Snapchat, YouTube, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and I appreciate you all. Now, as always, I'm going to hop into the wonderful world of real estate. All right. So today I'm going to talk about mortgage insurance versus mortgage protection. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up, if any of you are following me on any of my other platforms, such as Facebook or on Instagram, you all would know that I've talked about this during the week. And the reason why I talked about it, because so many people have a confusion about mortgage insurance versus mortgage protection. Now, let's make some things perfectly clear. Mortgage insurance, which a lot of times when people are purchasing a home and they're using a conventional loan and they are putting down less than 20%, they have to pay a PMI. The PMI is the private mortgage insurance, which is required as a down payment when any down payment is less than 20% using a conventional loan. Now, PMIs are usually canceled or can be canceled once the equity reaches 20%. But here's the thing, though. What people don't understand is, though, when it pertains to the PMI or the mortgage insurance versus the mortgage protection is that the most homeowners think mortgage insurance protect them. That's what they think. But if I told you it usually protects the lenders instead, how would you feel? And this is where mortgage protection comes into place. Now, mortgage protection is designed to help protect the family and home. Mortgage protection can help cover mortgage payments, income replacement, funeral expenses, and death. Now, the reason why many homeowners are confused is because people can pay a PMI for years and still have no family protection. Now, this is what I want people to understand, okay? And this is what people don't think about. If something happens to the breadwinner of the family, or the person's paying the mortgage, or anyone, if something happens after a breadwinner dies, people don't think about that. Nobody likes to talk about death until a GoFundMe account is created or until it actually happened. And I say that to say that here's the thing, and I just want to elaborate on a few things. Mortgage protection isn't about dying, it's about the people you love having options. People tend to insure their phones, their cars, jewelry, but leave the house exposed. And also with mortgage insurance, like I mentioned before, it is solely to protect the lender. It's not protecting your home. I bring this up because as a real estate professional for going on 21 years, I've dealt with many families who have lost the breadwinner of the household to where they had to sell the house in order to, get the equity that was in the home and that have accumulated over years, also to pay off debts, things of that nature, because many people also do not have final expense. Okay, so I'm bringing this thing up about mortgage protection is because while people are homeowners now, and because we have such an uncertainty in the world, in the economy, just like we had COVID a couple of years ago, and they're talking about a potential another virus right now, mortgage protection really helps people. Many of you know I got my life insurance license over 3+ years ago, and I've helped many people apply these things to their mortgage to help them to put it in place. I'm trying to help someone else as well too, because I don't want people to be caught up in a bad situation where unfortunately they have to sell the house because they can't afford the mortgage or they can't stay in it. No one buys a home unless you plan on selling it eventually, but no one buys a home to only have it taken from them. No one wants that to happen. And it can, and eventually it will, if you don't pay the mortgage payment. But mortgage protection helps do this. Now, here's the thing. And I really want people to understand this, okay? Oh, I wrote down some things, so I'm looking at my notes. Home ownership without protection can still leave families vulnerable. Now, if you would like to have a 5 to 15 minute meeting with me to discuss this and more, please send me a message. Matter of fact, DM me, DM me the word mortgage protection so I can help, guide you along the way. But I do want people to understand that mortgage insurance protects the lender. Mortgage protection protects the family and the home. That is the difference in it. People have it confused. And this is why when someone does pass away, such as the breadwinner of the family, they'll call the mortgage company and say, what about mortgage insurance? And the lenders are looking out for them. But who's looking out for you? You know who's looking out for you? Me. That's why I'm telling you about it. You can do your own research. You can Google it. You can chat GPT it. But when you want to apply it to your life and your situations, please DM me mortgage protection. I'm easily accessible and I'm here for you. Okay. All right. So I'll be right back in a minute. All right. Thank you all. So right now I am going to go into the house of the week. Now this house that I brought up before, but I'm bringing it up again. And the reason why I'm bringing it up again is because this is a great deal, you all. For those people who live in D.C., this property is in the Trinidad area of Washington, D.C. It is a 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath home right near Gallaudet University in the Noma area. It is walking distance to the farmers market. It is walking distance to Metro bus accessible. It is less than a mile and a half from the Metro, easily accessible to downtown DC. Also coming out the city, going towards 295, 50, which is going towards the Beltway and Annapolis, 295, which is also headed towards Baltimore. This is a great deal if you're looking to purchase in DC. Okay. Again, DM me this property. If you're interested in this property or taking a tour, please DM me and I will gladly set that up with you. All right. So going into my Q&A, which is my question and answer. Now, with the questions and answer, I have very good questions. And I want to thank each and every one of you all for always sending me your questions. And please feel free to send more if you have any real estate related questions. So the first question of today is, when getting approved for a mortgage, does the lender need to see all bank account statements? When getting approved for a mortgage, does the lender need to see all bank account statements? Well, here's the thing. Most lenders require your last 2 to 3 months bank statements. They want to see wherever the funds and money is coming from that you're going to use for your down payment and closing costs. And they also want to make sure that you have enough to be able to afford the mortgage. So they don't care about all your bank accounts because you can have 5 bank accounts. They care more so about where the transactions is coming. So let's say hypothetically you had 5 bank accounts and you were using mainly one bank account, but you have money that you distribute or pay on something every month or every 2 months. They want to see those 2 bank accounts because that one is active. The ones that are inactive or don't have nothing really going on, they don't care. The ones that are active, that's what they care. And they care about stuff, you know what I'm saying, like income, spending habits, large deposits, where those come from. They want to make sure that there's no fraud or illegal activities going on. Now, I know people get large deposits and they say, oh, this is my business and stuff, but they want to make sure that, for example, if you're out there in the streets doing something illegal and you're putting money in your bank account, they want to source it and make sure that they're funding and financing this home to someone who is legally and of ethnicity. So that's what they want. Otherwise, you have cash, you can go buy a house for straight cash. But I'm just saying, um, a lot of times, that's what they're looking at. Now, here's the thing. The second question: should I pay down debt first or build savings for closing first? Should I pay down debt first or build hold on, excuse me. Should I pay down debt first or build savings for closing first? Now, for this answer, it really depends on what's hurting you more. And the reason why I say that is because your debt to income ratio is very critical to lenders. They don't just pull your credit and look at what's on your credit report. They also, when they're looking at your credit report, they're looking at what you owe. If you got 10 credit cards, 2 car notes, a student loan, they see all that as debt. So they're looking at that. Now, when they pull your bank accounts, like I previously mentioned, they're looking at what's in your bank account and everything too. So they're going to also look at your lack of reserves, meaning if you got $5 in your bank account, but yet you got to go to close and you got to pay 25,000, and you say, "Oh, well, I got money coming in and stuff." They're going to look at that, but they're also going to be like, "Okay, you're down to $5." So they're going to look at your savings account. They're going to look at your checkings account. Now, they want to make sure that you can afford the monthly payments. Paying down debt may help you qualify for more house, but you have to make sure that you can afford the house. You do not want to be house poor. There are plenty of people who buy houses and eventually they end up losing the house because they're house poor. Some people, I remember doing before the housing market crashed back in 2008, and I remember people buying houses. And I remember one time going over to one particular house. They had just bought the house probably a year prior to that, but they didn't have any furniture in the house. And they were eating ramen noodles and stuff. It was a nice house. And I could tell that they were struggling with their payments. And I'm just saying, you want to make sure that that happened. Now, here's the thing. If your monthly debt payments are too high, paying down debt may help you qualify for more house. If you don't have enough down payment, closings cost, or emergency reserve, then building savings may be more important first. In many cases, you need both strategy and balance. A buyer with low debt but no cash still may not be ready. Being approved doesn't mean being financially comfortable after closing. Some buyers kill their savings paying off debt. They have nothing left to buy the home. So you have to have a balance and everything. If you want to go more into details, please reach out to me so I can help you strategize a plan in order to help you, do what's best for you and your situation. Everybody has a unique individual, like your DNA and like your fingerprints. Everybody's situation is unique. Even if you have the same credit score as your twin, doesn't mean that you and your twin are equal. I've seen people who were approved for the same mortgage amount, but their monthly payments were totally different because it was based off their credit scores, their down payment, and what type of loan that they were using. But they were both approved for the same amount. So I say that to say to you that everyone's situation is unique. Question number 3. If the appraisal comes in low, what's the next move? If the appraisal comes in low, what's the next move? This is a great question. Now, I want you to understand that a low appraisal does not automatically kill any deal. It does not. So when you ask if the appraisal comes in low, what's the next move? Depends on what side you're on. If you're the seller or if you're the buyer. Now, if you're the buyer, you can renegotiate the price to get for the appraised value. Because unlike before the housing market crashed, when people had to come up with the difference, meaning, let's say you made an offer for a house for $700,000. The appraisal came in at $787,000. I'm sorry, the appraisal came in at $687,000. That's a $13,000 difference. Back then, you still were obligated to pay $700,000 for the house, so you had to pay the difference. Nowadays, when you have a person like me who negotiates on behalf of my clients, we don't pay anything. We negotiate the price. Now, sometimes sellers may want you to pay the difference because the house appraised at that value. That's where you have to know how to structure the contract in order to make sure as a buyer you don't. Now, sellers can accept the low value amount, or they can reject it, try to relist it, try to get whatever it is that they asked for. But what happens at that point is that property is stamped for 6 months with that appraised value. So if they want more than that appraised value, they have to get a different loan accepted. Meaning, for example, let's say hypothetically, the appraisal was an FHA appraisal, and they came in and the seller say, no, I don't want to accept that. Okay, they don't have to accept it. But now, if they accept another offer, it has to be a conventional or VA or some other form of payment. It can't be a FHA because the FHA appraisal is stamped on it, even though it's with a different buyer. So sometimes that holds up and ties things up because it makes the pool of buyers smaller for to purchase. So most of the times that can be negotiated. It just depends on the whole structure of the offer, because it depends on if you had issues at the home inspection. It depends on what the offer was, compared to the list price. It depends on the terms of the contract. Now, you can also, when a low appraisal comes in, if you are a seller, you can challenge the comps that were done. Of course, most buyers are going to want to buy something cheaper, but sellers are always want to sell something higher. So as a seller, you can challenge the comps. As a buyer, you're going to be happy that it came in lower because you're like, oh, now I'm getting the house at a cheaper rate. Or if the appraiser comes in lower, like I said, the sellers can accept the appraised value. They can not accept it, cancel the contract, relist it. As a buyer, you can ask for the appraised value. If they don't accept it, you have several options. You can either cancel the contract or you can pay the difference. It just depends. It's all about negotiation. This happens more than people realize in fast moving or motion. I'm sorry. This happens more than people realize in fast moving and unstable markets. This happens a lot of times. Depends on what's going on. Excuse me. Now, again, like I said, most low appraisals do not automatically kill the deal. What kills the deal is not coming to an agreement of the low appraised value. A house is only worth what the market can support to the lender and what the buyer agrees to pay, period. Question number 4. What's the difference between market value and personal value? What's the difference between market value and personal value? Market value is what buyers in the current market are realistically willing to pay based on comparable sales, condition, location, and demand. Personal value is what the property means emotionally to the owner. Again, market value is, to summarize, is basically what the buyer is willing to pay for. And personal value is what the seller thinks the house is worth. Most sellers always believe and think their house is the best house on the block. They think their house is worth more than their neighbor house who sold yesterday. Regardless, even though the neighbor house could have been in better condition, renovated, had more bedrooms, had more bathrooms, but they still think that their house is worth more than the neighbors. So personal value is tied to the owner. Market value is tied to the buyer. And plus, personal, it's like people have memories. They raised their kids in the house. Parents might have passed away in the house. They grew up in the house themselves. That's where it is. All right. Yeah. And let me just want to say this to a lot of sellers. Just because you love your house doesn't mean that a buyer will overpay for your house, because that's what a lot of sellers are betting on. That's why right now you see the housing market. There's a lot of houses that are sitting on the market, and more than 80% of them are overpriced. That's why they're sitting. The 20% that are not overpriced, they sell quick. But the 80% that are overpriced, they are sitting. You know why? Because sellers think their house is worth more than the previous house that has sold. And they think that a buyer is going to pay for it. In some cases, depending on the market, a buyer will. But in all cases, they won't. It depends on the market. The market dictates also what a seller's house will sell for. But some sellers don't believe that. They listen to HGTV, they go on Redfin, they go on Zillow, and they think that, oh, they an expert and they know. and then their house is sitting because they told their realtor, oh, this is where I want to list my house at. And when the realtor say, okay, it was overpriced, then they want to get another realtor like that's going to change the sale. It's not, unless it's me, because every house I touch turns to sold. All right. Number 5, does overpricing hurt more than underpricing a property? Does overpricing hurt more than overpricing? Now, I briefly just touched on that, and I didn't even look at this question. Now, yes, and I'm going to tell you why it hurts. Houses sit longer on the market, like I just explained, lose momentum because after houses have been on the market for a while, it's considered a stale listing now. You get fewer showings, it becomes stale online, and then you have to do multiple price reduction. Buyers start to wonder, what's wrong with the house? Why hasn't it sold? Because it's overpriced. Meanwhile, underpricing, which is strategically create urgency, increases traffic, generate multiple offer, push the price up naturally. But see, these are the things that a lot of sellers don't know. They think they know, but they don't know because they don't understand the market. They just understand the neighbor house sold, which could have been 2.5 years ago. Market was different. So much happened in the last 2.5 months, but they don't take all these factors into consideration. But a person like me, I do. We're doing this going on 21 years, you all. What people don't understand is the first 2 weeks are very critical. The first 30 days are very critical when you put your house on the market. Now, when it pertains to real estate, it isn't always about buying or selling property. It's about understanding strategy, timing, leverage, and money. And that's where I come in at, to break it down all to you, to explain it to you, or better yet, just let me sell the house. You ain't got to worry about nothing, but only when I email, text you, or call, you pick up and respond. That's all I ask for. You know why? Because every house I touch turns to sold. I'm coming back with my topic of the day, y'all. I thank you for these questions. I'll be right back. Yeah, I just hit my Instagram. I always got to hit go live on Instagram, and I always forget to do that. So to all my Instagram people who are just joining me at the end of my podcast, I do apologize. I always forget to go back and do that. They need to do something better on this platform that I'm using. But yeah, so my topic of the day is, let me tell you about it. It is the summertime behavior that we got going on. Okay. The summertime behavior. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this summertime behavior is because I'm going to show you all a quick video. A quick video. I want you all to pay attention to this video. All right. Pay attention to this video that I'm about to show y'all. All right. Can y'all see this video? Yeah. Look at this video, you all. I want you all to pay attention to it. This is that Cinco de Mayo on Monday. I want you all to see this video because this is the summertime behavior that I'm talking about. That's about to come because there's a lot of YNs and young, irresponsible adults. We call them YNs, which means young niggas, okay? I don't even like to say that, but I'm just going to say it, young niggas. And with niggas, it's ignorance a lot of times. See, the problem with us, okay, and I'm just going to break this down after I showed it. This is just too much going on. Too much going on. Fighting, crowds, we can't get along with crowds. Every time we get along with crowds, look, they'll fight. I just want y'all to see that this is the summertime behavior. Summertime behavior that's coming. We don't even have 3 consecutive days of warm weather, but just breaking out. Summertime behavior. And the reason why I'm showing this, okay, the reason why I'm showing this, and I want to talk about it, is because, okay, let me stop real quick. Stop. Okay, so I didn't even, it goes on for almost 3 minutes, but I just want to talk about it real quick. The summertime behavior. See, Unfortunately, those are YN's young people. But don't get me wrong, there are grown people who behave the same way. Unfortunately, in our culture, we can't get along to save our lives. Whenever there's a crowd of people, there's always fights breaking out or guns breaking out because people can't control out their emotions. Us as black people, we're the most emotional people out here. Black people want to act like men want to act like they the hardest or they the toughest, and then they want to pull out a gun and really show that they the weakest. And on top of that, or they want to jump people. Females the same way. If a woman walks in and the other women see them, then they want to look at them with hatred and dislike and jealousy and envy and stuff. You don't say it, but it's shown all over your face. I say this to say that this is the summertime behavior of our people. We don't know how to act. We want to go to everywhere where the crowd is, like the Cinco de Mayo, when there's going to be jazz fest and picnics and cookouts and cruises and sporting events. We want to have fun with entertainment, but we want to act like we're the only one. This is why other cultures don't want us around. This is why they talk bad about us and everything, because we don't know how to act. And I say this to say that a lot of times when I look at stuff like that with YNs, the parents are to blame. Okay. And no parent wants to take responsibility when their kids is acting up. But when your kid do something good, you want to get all the credit in the world. But when your kid is doing something bad, you don't want nobody to say nothing to you. You don't want to take accountability for your child that you raised. Okay. And yesterday, I briefly said something to a coworker, and I was like, yeah, I bet the father wasn't in the house. And she said, oh, it don't matter as long as, some male role figure like the uncle and stuff. And I said, yeah, but most uncles ain't being uncles like they used to. You understand? Because every time somebody say something to do something to the kids, the boy, the mother wanted to defend. I got buddies like that. I know guys who got grown kids now, and every time they say something to their son, the mothers want to interject and say, oh, that's my son. Don't do that and stuff. You don't let him be a man, because see, when you don't let the father deal with him, society's going to deal with him. And the only thing I have to say about this, and I also heard a woman say that when her son walks out the door, that ain't her problem no more. So you created a monster, but now you want everybody else to deal with your monster. It's unfortunate that we are like this as a culture and as a people. We don't know how to act to save our lives. These youngins, these young people, whatever you want to call them, YNs and everything, look how that is. And parents ain't taking no responsibility. They don't care. All they want to do is get their money, sip their wine, enjoy their time, travel, do whatever it is, and don't even care. Created a monster. We are so jacked up and everything that it is terrible, y'all. It's terrible. We don't know how to act. Unfortunately, even when you parent kids good, some of them are going to go astray and not turn out right. Everybody's not going to turn out the way that you want them to turn out. And that's understandable. But the problem is, majority of them kids that we saw, I guarantee you they live at home. I guarantee the majority of them live at home. Very few probably live by themselves. Very few probably live by themselves. Their parents are still around. Parents don't say nothing. Let them do what they want. Go what they want. And create a mess out of them. And if something happens to them, they're going to have them on a t-shirt. They're going to start a GoFundMe. They're going to, say they didn't deserve this and stuff. Just like I saw several times early this year and last year where young people were breaking in people's houses and they got shot and killed. And the mothers got mad at the people who shot and killed them. No accountability or no responsibility. And the problem is a lot of times as Black people, we have kids young. So we don't know how to parent. That's not just the problem. The problem is when something is said to us as Black people, we are one of the 4 Ds. We either on the defensive, we're in denial, we like to deflect, or we are delusional. Can't nobody say nothing to nobody without them becoming defensive, in denial, deflecting, or delusional. And then you become confrontational. And then you wonder why these youngins are the same way. See, until we as a people start taking accountability for the roles that we play in everything, we're going to keep on having this mess. See, they don't care what we do. We hurt each other. We kill each other. You know why? Because they don't want us here anyway. A lot of them don't. There's some who do, but a lot of them don't. They don't care about us. I heard one of my buddies was talking to a Caucasian man, and the Caucasian man said to the Black man, oh, you all are killing each other. See, they don't care. We wiping out each other because instead of us being accountable for our actions and roles, we want to make excuses. And that's the one thing I've realized about a lot of my people. We make excuses for so much instead of finding a reason to do things. And I say that to say is a lot of y'all need to check yourselves. Y'all really need to check yourself. But see, y'all don't care. Oh, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I got my money today. I'm going to go do what I want this weekend. See, that nonchalant, I don't care attitude is the reason why these youngins act the way that they do. The reason why they out here causing havoc and doing all this craziness because of that same attitude that y'all got. And the problem is, ain't nobody told y'all. Y'all don't want to listen. Y'all don't want to listen as parents. And you wonder why the youngins don't listen. Y'all got these parents scared of your own kids. Scared of your own kids. And in many cases, the fathers ain't in the life. And then y'all want to say, oh, he ain't no good. He might not be no good for you, but he might be good for his kid. See, y'all take y'all emotions and make these decisions that affect the child tremendously. And when you affect the child tremendously, y'all don't understand the detrimental effect it has on the child. Yeah, he might not have been no good for you, but that don't mean he ain't no good for his children. And that's part of the problem. Don't get me wrong. There are some fathers who end people's lives and they weak men. They don't say nothing to their kids. They don't do nothing. They just a man in the house and they're not a man of the house. I get that too. But when are we going to start to look at ourselves to become better for ourselves? Because as we get older, we leave our kids behind, our grandkids behind. What type of legacy are they going to leave besides causing chaos and confusion? What? I guess y'all don't care, right? I guess I'm just speaking just to be hearing myself talk. But the reality is that's what you saw is summertime behavior coming. Because as it gets warm outside, it's going to get worse. You know, at the car wash, they're going to be at all the restaurants and stuff, hanging out late, hanging in the parking lot. That's why some people stay at home. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't want to deal with that drama. They don't want to deal with the chaos and confusion. That's why a lot of white people, when you move into the neighborhood, they move out. For example, a lot of people have moved down to Charles County, and a lot of white people have kept moving further and went to different counties. Same thing in Montgomery County. A lot of people from D.C. moved to Silver Spring, and a lot of white people that move further up and farther away. Same thing when you move, like, you know what I'm saying? Wherever we move into, they move out. And then they say, oh, there goes the neighborhood. The appreciation has gone down. That's what they think. You know why? Because we don't know how to act. Because when we get a crowd of people, we look at each other. We frown upon each other. We talk bad. We say something slick. We disrespectful to each other. We want to fight and show we the toughest. We want to show we the toughest. Who cares? You go to jail, you die and stuff like that. Don't matter. You the toughest. You know how many dead? You know how many tough people are dead or in jail? The toughest. So you want to prove you the toughest, or you want to prove that you the cutest, or you the baddest, got the best body. Who cares? All that stuff is superficial and stuff. It's good to protect yourself, yeah. It's good to look good, yeah, but you ain't gonna always be the best. Even Mike Tyson got knocked out and lost fights. You understand? Even the prettiest ones, over time, body change and stuff. See, the mindset is everything. And I can tell you right now, our mindset is so jacked up. That's why they said we got the crab in the barrel mentality. We ain't for each other. We for self. Majority of us are selfish. All we care about is ourselves. We don't care about our kids because look how they acted. We don't care about our grandkids. All we care about is us. And that's unfortunate stuff. And I pray that Jesus come back today because he really needs to. Because this world is Babylon. Everybody's selfish. Everybody's doing sneaky and conniving stuff. You know what I'm saying? Nobody is genuine anymore. Everybody, you know, you don't even think about the children. See, this is one thing that I'm trying to get to you all. If you ain't going to think about you, think about your kids and your grandkids. You messed up on your kids, so think about your grandkids. And really think about yourself. Because like I said, when you see the behavior of all these people, guess what? It ain't just them. It's a reflection of you too. Because you're the parent. And as the parent, I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of parents that did a poor piss-ass job of raising kids. Because you didn't raise kids, you spoiled them. You spoiled them. You never showed them consequences and punishment. You gave them everything. You gave them everything. Now they feel entitled. That's why a lot of them are grown now and disrespectful and feel entitled. Don't get me wrong. I spoiled my grown kids. And some of them are the same way. You know, disrespectful and feel entitled and stuff. You understand? But you got grandkids now. What are you doing with your grandkids? You can do better. Don't just wipe your hands with your kids or even with your grandkids. Because even when I feel about my kids, I still pray for my kids. Because if I can't touch them, I ask God to touch them, to touch their mind, to touch their heart, to touch their soul. Because guess what? If you don't touch your child's mind, heart, and soul, somebody's going to, whether it's in the form of fighting, whether it's the police, whether it's in jail, or whether somebody doing something else. You have to pray for your children if you can't be there for your children. Because, like I said, summertime behavior is coming. It is coming, y'all. All right. So I said all that to say I'm going to check out. I am not going to be here next Friday. I will be in Puerto Rico. I thank each and every one of you for joining me. As always, please check out DamonTheAgent.com. All right. Send me any and all questions that you may have. And I'm going to end on my commercial like I always do because I came a little bit over.
We sure could use the money.
Time for some upgrades. We're pregnant.
Oh my goodness, I need to downsize.
We buy houses for cash as is.
Damon the Agent. A name you can trust.